Thank you everyone for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. We are happy to have you here for Tackling Taxes, the 2023 tax season. This is the first part of a three-part series that we're doing. I am Will Greenberg. I'm the Development Communications Coordinator at Brooklyn Legal Services Corporation A, and we will be co-hosting this series with Grow Brooklyn, one of our closest partners. We work very closely with them on a lot of our tax work, and you'll hear a little bit about both of our organizations before we dig into tonight's program. So this, as I said, this is a three-part series. Tonight we'll be covering filing requirements, important deadlines, and a couple other important topics. And the next two events for the program will be in the following Wednesday. So next week, the 28th, and then the following Wednesday, March 6th. You are welcome and encouraged to join all of the events. You can sign up for those if you haven't already with the exact same Zoom link that you used to sign up for tonight. So like I said, we'll be hearing from presenters from both Grow Brooklyn and Brooklyn A. But first, I want to say a huge thank you to our sponsor tonight, State Senator Roxanne Prasad. The senator herself unfortunately wasn't able to be here tonight, but we're very happy to have her Chief of Staff, Taniqua Strong, here with us. So I want to give the floor over to Taniqua.
Thank you so much, Will. Good evening, everyone. It was definitely an honor to be before you all tonight. Just want to give you all a preview of what you're going to expect tonight. You will be hearing about cover filing requirements, important deadlines, and eligibility for different programs such as volunteer income tax assistance and low-income taxpayer clinic. And so we know that Brooklyn A Development, in addition with Grow, we do know they always bring great services to the community. And so we know that tonight is going to be a good night on behalf of Senator Roxanne J. Prasad. Definitely seize this opportunity to get all the information that you can to help you for your endeavors. Just want to let you know about our upcoming events. We have an event on tomorrow from 6 to 7:30 p.m. It is our webinar conversation regarding alopecia and hair loss, and our homeowners benefit and notice of property value, which will be held on February the 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. And just two more events that I want to share with you, that on March 6th, we have our NILAC free civil legal services. That will be at the district office. Our district office is located at 1222 East 96th Street. And for sharing there, whatever is estate planning, if you need assistance regarding tenant issues, please feel free to sign up. You can call our office between the hours of 9 and 5, Monday through Thursday, or Friday between the hours of 9 and 1 p.m. Our office number is 718-649-7653. Again, our office number is 718-649-7653. And last but not least, we have our in-person tax preparation services on Saturday, March 16th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We had it last month, and it was indeed a great event. And so we definitely, if there's a service that you need, please feel free to contact our office again. Thank you again, Brooklyn Development A, for bringing this services to the community. And definitely, we look forward to what's going to come out of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taniqua, and huge thank you to you for the work you do in the Senator's office, and a huge thank you to the Senator, who's a consistent and excellent advocate for legal service providers, for service providers, and especially tax services in tax season. So we really appreciate the work that you're doing. So,
our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I want to tell you a little bit about both of the organizations presenting tonight, and we'll be hearing from Kelly Lai, who is a staff attorney for our low-income taxpayer clinic, and you'll be hearing from Stephen Luke, outreach associate at Grow Brooklyn. And I believe, if I have the order correct in my head, we'll be hearing first from Stephen, yes, to tell us a little bit about Grow Brooklyn.
Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're from. Thank you for coming out today. I'm Stephen Luke, outreach associate for Grow Brooklyn, worked with Grow Brooklyn for many years. I'm thankful for everybody being here today. A little bit breakdown about what we offer at Go Brooklyn, as you can see on the slide, is program descriptions. So to start is our foreclosure prevention. And this is attorneys who can represent you in settlement conferences and negotiate a resolution. Counselors who will negotiate for you, talk to your lenders, and give you budgeting and documentation advice. Next is estate planning, legal services. So Go Brooklyn's PYT program, which stands for Protect Your Treasure. We offer pro bono free end of life and estate planning legal services. Also, the Black Home Ownership Project, which is from generation to generation. Okay. And last is our financial capabilities housing counseling. There's a free one-on-one financial counseling. Okay. Then for everything we do is free. Okay. Free. All right. So we work towards specific goals such as creating a sustainable budget, building, repairing credit history, establishing savings over time. We are HEB certified, and we prepare individuals and families to be able to navigate the home buying process.
Perfect. Thank you, Stephen. To now tell a little bit more about Brooklyn A. We are a free legal service provider. We believe that all New Yorkers should have equal access to legal services to seek justice, make their voices heard, and overcome systemic racism and oppression. We were established in 1968 as part of the War on Poverty, and we believe attorneys have a critical role to play in combating poverty, inequality, and racism. Our civil legal services organizing efforts and educational resources assist our clients and their communities in defending and mobilizing against harassment, displacement, and gentrification, and asserting their rights. The majority of our clients are women, BIPOC, and have an annual income. They're low income. So, we are really here to help people who need it. And so we highly encourage folks reach out to us. We have three main program areas in addition to the tax work that we'll be hearing about tonight. We have a Preserving Affordable Housing program, which does eviction prevention, anti-harassment, repairs, and essential services cases, as well as tenant organizing. Our Community and Economic Development program works on small business work, such as commercial lease assistance for small businesses and nonprofits. We negotiate rent and arrears for small businesses, and have nonprofit incorporation and startup services. And we'll be announcing a little bit more details about some of those programs are continuing to expand. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. And then our Consumer and Economic Advocacy program, which houses our low-income taxpayer clinic, also houses our foreclosure prevention work, our deed theft cases and predatory lending, as well as our domestic violence program, which offers services including orders of protection, child custody support, and more. You can see there if you're in need of our services, you can call 718-487-2300 or email our info@bka. Email there, but we'll have at the end of the presentation, I will also open up, or we'll reshare the contact information for both us and for Grow Brooklyn. And I want to also plug, in addition to the three-part series that we're doing tonight and the next two consecutive Wednesdays, Brooklyn A and Grow Brooklyn also has a running bi-weekly tax table, the drop-in tax table. This is your opportunity to get a free 15-minute appointment with both tax experts from Brooklyn A and Grow Brooklyn. This is a really great resource if you have any questions at all about your taxes, especially coming up with tax season. Please don't hesitate to sign up for that. I can drop that link in the chat toward the end of the presentation, and we'll send a follow-up email to everyone attending tonight with links to sign up for that as well. And so we're going to get going with the program, and I will we'll be holding a Q&A at the end of the program. So we ask if you have any questions, you can either hold them till the end. We'll address all the questions at the end, but if you'd like, you can put them into the Q&A box you'll see there at the bottom of your screen. Or if you'd like to ask your question verbally, you should see a raise hand button on your screen, and we'll be able to unmute you so you can ask your question verbally. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brooklyn A's Kelly Lai to get us going with the program.
Thanks, Will, and thank you, Taniqua, Stephen, for all that introduction. Thank you, Senator Prasad, for sponsoring this event. And of course, thank you everyone who is here tonight to talk about the filing requirements and important deadlines and tips. Next slide, please. Can you click again? Yeah, so the filing deadline for your 2023 tax return is April 15th. That is a Monday. If you decide that you want to file yourself, you can go on to this website. And if you made less than $79,000 in 2023, you can file both the IRS and New York State forms for free. And make sure you click on this specific website to sign up for an account. Otherwise, if you go directly to the softwares that are partnering up with New York State, you may end up getting the full service account and having to pay a $20 or so fee for the New York State forms. The IRS forms should always be free. So if you're paying for the IRS, there's a problem, exit out of that website. There's something wrong there. Next slide, please. So who exactly is required to file? So this is a table pulled from the IRS for the 2023 filing requirements for most of the taxpayers. So depending on your filing status, which I will go over later, and how old you are and how much income you may be required to file. So if we look at this table over here, for example, if you are filing jointly, you were married at the end of December of 2023, both of you were under the age of 65, and your combined gross income is more than $27,700, then you are required to file a tax return. So what does gross income mean? So it's for any income that you receive. So if you were employed, you should have received a W-2 by now. Or if you had any investments from stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency, that also counts as income. Unemployment, many people and a lot of our clients do not realize that when you're unemployed and you receive unemployment for New York State, that is still gross income. And if that adds up to the table, to the amount that's more than that's listed on this table, you are required to file a tax return. And you may not realize this, but the US is one of the few countries that taxes income from all over the world. So even if you had income not from the United States, you made it from another country, that is income and it is taxable within the United States. And make sure you check out this table over here, depending on your filing status. If your gross income is more, make sure that you do file your tax return. Next slide, please. So there are other situations when you do have to file, even if your gross income is less than the amount listed on table 1. So some of the circumstances is if you owe any special taxes. So that's like alternative minimum tax, taxes on retirement plan distribution, Social Security and Medicare taxes that were not withheld from your income, or uncollected Social Security income, Medicare, household employment taxes, and recapture taxes. If you have any of these special taxes mentioned here, and your income, even though it doesn't fall or isn't above the amount of the minimum requirement, you still have to file your tax returns. Other situations where you still have to file includes distribution from a health savings account and others like Archer MSA, Medicare Advantage MSA, and you were self-employed and you earned at least $400. So self-employed, that could be, for example, you're an Uber driver or a delivery service person and you received cash directly from one of these companies. If you made at least $400, and I know that seems very low, unfortunately, you do have to file a tax return. Other examples, if you had wages $108.28 from a church or qualified church organization that's exempt for employer Social Security and Medicare taxes, that also means you need to file a tax return. The last two examples, you have advance payments of premium tax credit. So if you had health insurance at the marketplace, you should have received a 1095-A already. And with this form, you will use it to file your 2023 tax return. And the last example, you're required to file Form 965-A for an elected installment payment. Next slide, please. So you may be wondering, if you do not meet the minimum filing requirement, none of these special tax situations apply to you. Why would you want to file a tax return? So one reason is that you had federal taxes withheld or made estimated payments. If you do file, you can get any of the surpluses, withholding, refunded back to you. Another reason to file is to get different types of tax credits where you can get a refund. One of the tax credits is an earned income tax credit. So you may qualify for this if you worked at a low income job. And this will depend on your income level, filing status, and how many dependents you claim. So that varies based on all the different situations, but you may be eligible for this tax credit. Another tax credit is a child tax credit. So if you had a qualifying child, you may be eligible. And the additional child tax credit is available if you have at least one qualifying child and you didn't receive the full amount from the child tax credit. Another case is the American Opportunity Credit. So students in the first 4 years of post-secondary education, meaning a college or university, can qualify up to $1,000, which is refundable. And another reason to file is just so that the IRS has a record. And we do see a lot of identity theft issues going on if you file ahead and the IRS has a record. So it's easier for them to track in the future in case some scammer is trying to take your identity using your information. Next slide, please. And what are the documents you need when you are ready and you want to start preparing your tax returns? If you worked for an employer, you should have received your W-2 already, and the employer is required to issue this before January 31st. If you haven't received it from your employer, make sure you talk to HR and to ask them where this document is or the reason of this delay. If you are self-employed, you should have received a 1099 and or a 1099-K. So the 1099-K is in a situation, for example, let's say you worked for Etsy and you were selling goods online. So there is a reporting requirement if you made $20,000 or more and there's 200 transactions on Etsy, for example. Again, if you are unemployed, that is reportable income, and you should have received a 1099-G. If you had no taxes withheld, that income will be reported and the taxes will be calculated then. If you don't report it and you had no taxes withheld, New York State and the IRS will send you a letter saying that you will owe taxes. So make sure you report this unemployment income, especially because the interest rate right now for failing to pay your taxes is compounded daily at 8%. So that's quite high. So you want to make sure you report this before the filing deadline. Other documents that may be applicable, 1098-T or E for college students or graduates, 1098 mortgage statements for homeowners and Social Security, or any distributions from pension, annuities, and retirement. Next slide, please. So I'll be going over the different filing statuses. So there are 5 different filing statuses: single, qualifying widow, married filing jointly, married filing separately, and head of household. Single is the most basic one. So if you don't qualify for any of the other 4 statuses, you automatically should list yourself as single. So I will go over, next slide, please. Qualifying widow. So unfortunately, if your spouse passed away in 2020 or 2021 and you have not remarried, then you can use the qualifying widow status. And there's some rules. You have to have a child or stepchild whom you can claim as dependent. The child lived with you for the entire year of 2023, and you paid more than half the cost of maintaining your home. If your spouse passed away in 2023, you can still use the married filing jointly. So the 2023 year will be the last year that you can use the married filing jointly filing status. Next slide, please. So the next filing status I want to go over is married filing jointly. If you do decide to check married filing jointly, just know that you and your spouse will be sharing the responsibility for any of the taxes owed. So in the future, for whatever reason, if you are separated and no longer married, and you have not paid the taxes where you filed married filing jointly, the government can go after both of you since you signed off saying that you are both jointly responsible for any of the taxes owed. So what does it mean to be considered married? So to be considered married, by the end of December of 2023, you have to meet one of the followings over here. You are legally married and actually living together, or you're living together under common law marriage. This actually doesn't apply in New York State, but it may apply in another state if you're living not in New York, living apart but not legally separated just yet, or you're separated and under interlocutory decree of divorce. So in these situations, you can check off married filing jointly. Next slide, please. So the next status will be married filing separately. If you decide that you don't want to do married filing jointly, you can do married filing separately. A thing to note is that if you do choose the status, unfortunately, you are disqualified from a lot of the credits that were mentioned before. For example, the Earned Income Tax Credit, American Opportunity and Lifetime Learning Tax Credit, adoption expenses, child and dependent care tax credits. You're disqualified and you cannot take these credits. So why would people ever want to choose married filing separately then? So situations, for example, if you have large student loans, that means your payments, you have payments that are based on your income, but if you file married jointly, then your income is higher. So you may decide that it's more beneficial for you to do married filing separately. Or if you have large medical expenses, it's also based on your income that you want to take some deduction, then you may decide that actually it makes more sense to do married filing separately. And of course, the largest benefit is that you can separate any of your tax liabilities and the IRS cannot go after you for your partner's tax liabilities if you did not sign married filing jointly. Next slide, please. So the last but not least filing status, it's called head of household. So we have seen an increase of many of our clients trying to, especially during COVID, trying to use this filing status, especially for victims of domestic violence. And they have dependents that they're caring for, but both parties are fighting to be the head of household. So the filing status does affect how much standard deduction is and how much taxes you end up paying. So to qualify for head of household, you have to be unmarried or considered unmarried by the end of December 2023. You have to have paid more than half the cost of your home, and a qualifying person have to live with you for more than half the year. A qualifying person doesn't necessarily mean a child. It can also be your parent. So in the case of a parent, the parent doesn't have to live with you. And with your spouse, the spouse, this ex-spouse, or if you're still married, as long as the spouse did not live in your home during the last 6 months of the tax year, you can still qualify as head of household. Next slide, please. And next, I'm going to go over tax-related identity theft. So typically, a scammer will try to use PII. So this stands for personally identifiable information. So information that can be used to authenticate your identity, like social security numbers, phone number, password, tax ID, credit card, debit card numbers, date of birth, prior year adjusted gross income. So you can never be too careful about protecting your PII. So make sure when you're in public or using library computers that you are not entering your personal information. The scammers are very good at stealing this information and filing a tax return or using it for any other purposes. We see a lot of emails phishing. So phishing is a tactic used by scammers to gain your information online. So what we typically see is a scammer posing as your boss saying there's an emergency and you have to respond immediately. So in this case, if you're unsure whether it's coming from your boss or any of your colleagues, just make sure you actually type out a new email asking the person directly instead of responding or clicking on any of the links in the email. The IRS and New York State, fortunately and unfortunately, is still very outdated. They still use fax machines, they still use mail. So if you ever see an email from the government demanding any payments or your personal information, immediately delete that email and mark it as spam. The IRS will never contact you or text you by email or phone number unless you've already had prior notices and communication. So just be very careful, especially during tax season. A lot of people out there will be trying to take your information. Just be extra vigilant about trying to protect your information. Next slide, please. And I think I'm passing this back to Stephen to talk about important deadlines and tips.
Thank you so much. Very good. Okay. So now we're going to talk about important deadlines and tips. We grow Brooklyn from the Internal Revenue Service. Next slide, please. Okay. So these are some important deadlines I'd like everybody to pay attention to. Okay. So we have January 29th, which is the IRS and New York State Department of Taxation and Finance began the 2024 tax season and started accepting and processing individual 2023 tax returns. Okay. April 15th is the due date to file an IRS and New York State 2023 tax return or request an extension if you feel that you won't be able to file your taxes in time, you're missing documents. This all happens. You know, your employer sent the W-2s out late. You definitely don't want to get hit with, with some kind of penalty for filing late. Okay, so your best bet is to file this extension to save yourself up until the next deadline, which is October 15th, which is the due date to file for those requesting an extension on their 2023 tax return. I also have an additional dates for you just in case. If you're, not around from the New York State areas, and April 17th is the due date for Maine and Massachusetts. Okay, so April 15th is for New York, and then we have April 17th is the due date for Maine and Massachusetts. So you can find these deadlines on irs.gov. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so here's some tips for filing the 2023 tax returns. Okay, to avoid refund delays. All right, taxpayers should file the returns electronically with direct deposit instead of submitting a paper tax return. Okay, make sure to avoid delays. Gather all of your tax records, such as forms W-2 from your employer, like I spoke previously, your form 1099 from banks, issuing agencies, and other payers, including unemployment, okay, compensation, dividends, pension, annuity, or retirement plan distributions. You need the form 1099K, okay, 1099 miscellaneous, and W-2 or other income statements if you worked in the gig economy, okay? Form 1099 INT if you were paid interest, all right? And form 1095A, which is your health insurance marketplace statement. You may also receive other forms too for your health insurance, which is 1095B, okay? Most income is taxable. This includes unemployment income, interest received, income from the gig economy, and digital assets. Also, virtual currency, as people know, is like Bitcoin, some kind of cryptocurrency along like those things so far. Okay, and make sure all the information on your tax return is complete and accurate. Check your name, address, and your identification numbers. Okay, make sure your social, make sure everything is accurate, because when you go to a free tax preparation, or you go to any kind of tax preparation, this can cause for your return to get delayed, rejected, audited, all these different things. Okay, so make sure you're in compliance and everything is complete, as accurate as possible. Okay, next slide. All right. Taxpayers can file the returns beginning January 29th but the IRS cannot issue refunds for the earned income tax credit or additional child tax credit before mid-February, okay? Because I know a lot of people, they try to file their taxes as early as possible, and it's great, and I know IRS really appreciates it, but you know, there's a time frame, and you have a lot of other people alongside yourself that also are trying to be in compliance, okay? So please continue to work with us or the different tax preparation sites as well, okay? All right. The law provides an extra time for the IRS to review the claims to prevent fraudulent refunds, okay? That's, you know, it could be something, a fraud from your side. It could be from the preparer side. You know, it's very wide area. So you want to make sure that you're getting what you deserve, your best refund, okay? And get your money back, all right? After filing, taxpayers can check the Where's My Refund app on the irs.gov website. Most updates will completed by February 18th, 2024, okay? The IRS expects most refunds to be available in taxpayer bank accounts or debit cards by February 27th if the direct deposit option was chosen and there are no other issues, all right? Avoid phone delays. Online resources are the best option, okay? Because sometimes it can be on hold for a very long time. It gets frustrating. So please, you know, try your best to do as much as you can from your side. And then whatever you can do, definitely, please do not be afraid to reach out. Please reach out, please. All right. Qualified taxpayers can find free tax preparation through the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance sites, also called VITA sites, okay? Volunteer Income Tax Assistance sites, VITA. You usually can find them, you know, you'll call 311 if that's, you know, within the New York area. You can look online, you can enter your zip code, and you know, you'll find what's the closest free tax preparation site to you. Okay, next slide. All right, how to avoid common errors. Submitting your tax return electronically ensures greater accuracy than mailing your return, okay? Make sure your name, taxpayer identification number, and current address, including your zip code, is correct and listed on your return. Choose only one correct filing status. Make sure that the names and taxpayer identification numbers for dependents and everyone listed on your return is correct. Like I was saying previous slides before, this may cause, you know, return to get rejected, audited, all these different things, and you don't want that to happen. But sometimes it does occur. But you know, if it does, definitely reach out to the IRS, reach out to whoever prepared it for you. There's a lot of different things that can be done. So don't feel like it's the end of the world, all right? We're here to help and you will get the help, okay? All right. Make sure that your income is correctly listed on your returns. Make sure after reviewing your tax return that you sign any dated return, okay? If you're getting a refund, make sure to double check your routing and account numbers for your bank account. Please double check the numbers. Do not let anybody just randomly put anything. It is illegal for somebody to put your refund into their accounts, okay? This is your money that you worked hard for. So make sure that they're doing it right, okay? And always make a copy of the return and all schedules for your own records, okay? Because you know, something may happen. You know, we're imperfect. Life is imperfect. Okay. So you want these receipts, you want these records for yourself so you know what was done. You know, you don't want somebody just to come in and just do whatever they want with your hard-earned money. Okay. You want, you know, you want to acknowledge what's going on. You want them to acknowledge you worked hard. You want some acknowledgement of what was going on. Like you deserve this. You earned this. Okay. So definitely keep your records. Keep it, because then let's say you go to a tax preparation site and then they are preparing it, and then you might get a lesser, you know, refund than past year or more. It could be a hiccup on their side. It could be a hiccup previously. So you want to keep those receipts. So moving forward, you can get, you know, better on the good foot. Okay. So you can match up those numbers, make sure it's done correctly, and get what, like I said, what you've earned and deserved. Next slide, please. Okay. How to apply for an extension. All right. To file an extension with the IRS, you need to complete Form 4868. That's your 4868 form, okay? Once again, majority of all these forms are filed. You can on irs.gov, you can file them, you can find them, everything is there. You know, you can contact the IRS, everything is there for you, okay? For free, all right? Okay, all right. So this is application for automatic extension of time to file U.S. individual income tax return on or before April 15th, 2024. Okay, like I was saying before, if you're afraid that you're gonna owe your employer didn't send out your tax paperwork in time, it happens to everyone. Okay, file this extension. All right, gives you a longer period of time to get your work together. Let's say you did file, earlier in time, you were being compliant. You want to do it in February or late January, and then later on they sent something late, or maybe something happened where you might have to amend your return, or maybe you have to add extra documents. This deadline gives you more time to fix your stuff. Okay. This form can be electronically filed using the free file link on the irs.gov website. Okay. To file an extension with the New York State, that's the Department of Taxation, all right, you need to complete form IT 370. This is the application for automatic 6-month extension of time to file for individuals, all right, IT 370, okay? You can apply for online, online for an extension with the New York State by going onto tax.ny.gov. I repeat, tax.ny.gov, okay, for your state extension. An extension of time to file your return does not grant any extension of time to pay your taxes, okay? All right, you should estimate and pay any taxes by your regular deadline to help avoid possible penalties. Like I said previous, you want to get your stuff in time, okay? Be compliant, all right? Just because you will still accrue these penalties, but at least this gives you more time to get your stuff together, okay? Next slide. All right, this is Grow Brooklyn, the VITA, like I said, Voluntary Income Tax Assistance Program, okay? Services and eligibility. Next one. All right. So this is Grow Brooklyn's free tax prep services. This is what we offer. Like I said, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, VITA PREP, is an IRS-sponsored tax preparation program created to promote tax law awareness and understanding, prepare free and accurate tax returns for low to moderate income individuals, elderly, and people with disabilities, to encourage personal asset building through incentives like opening bank accounts and tax incentives like contributing to IRA, college savings like 529 accounts, all right, and allow taxpayers to avoid the service of predatory and commercial tax preparers, all right? We also have a special program, which is a self-employed tax prep program, all right? This is a year-round service for the self-employed, all right? Self-employment. So self-employed usually get that form, you would see it sometimes, the 1099 MISC, which is a miscellaneous form, okay? That's money that you receive at times, which is, under the books, it could be via cash, not directly, you're not a W-2 employee, okay? All right, so this is for small business owners, freelancers, gig workers, up to 250,000 in expenses, okay? We help you, we're here. It says if you work for yourself, you need to file taxes annually and make estimated tax payments quarterly, okay? So quarterly every 3 months, okay? Every 3 months, make those estimated tax payments to make sure that you don't owe at the end of the year, and you can get a good refund for all your hard-earned work, okay? For everything that you've done. You deserve this money, so make sure you're doing this, okay? New York City free tax prep can help you, all right? Free, 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 free. That's the key word that we're saying here, free, all right? It said look for sites specifically for the self-employed where you can get other free resources. There it goes, free, to help you grow your business, all right? Next slide. All right, so here on this page here, we we are breaking down our different sites where we give to the community. This free service, this VITA for everything, the free counseling, financial counseling. We're here. All right. We have different language people that speak different languages, like interpreters, like we're here. So there is no reason that you can't come to us, because if you can find a reason, we'll find a reason for you to come. All right. If you find a reason not to, we'll find a reason for you to come. And then you can something that we don't directly have, we're connected to it. So all right, we will help you. We're here for you. Okay. I can't stress this enough that this is free. All right. So this is the in-person service for the New York City free tax prep. All right. IRS certified. We are all IRS certified to do what we're doing. So we're not just some people randomly that wants to go and get socials. The IRS sit here, give us training for this. So we can help you the best way possible. All right. So who is eligible for the service is anyone with income $80,000 or less with a dependent. All right. Anyone with income $56,000 or less that are single, and anyone who's a self-employed person with expenses of $35,000 or less. All right. We service from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Bushwick, downtown Brooklyn, East New York, East Williamsburg, Flatbush, Gowanus, Jackson Heights, Ocean Hill, Brownsville, Sunset Park. We also have drop-off locations, okay, in Brighton Beach. And we have virtual tax preparation. Sometimes, during COVID, you're not able to get out because of certain disabilities. It'll just work. Life happens. That this is contactless. You could drop off and get it done. So there's no excuses for you not to take advantage of the free tax prep. Okay, please take advantage of this. This is what we are here for. Next page. All right. And I would like to pass this on to Renee and Kelly, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Next slide, please. So this is particularly to my unit. We also have other services that we help with. So if you own a home, there's a deed theft issue, predatory lending, and foreclosure prevention that we can assist with. Other tax issues besides filing a tax return. So if you owe the IRS, New York State, any taxes and you need assistance in trying to resolve that, we can definitely assist. Or you believe that a tax return was filed incorrectly by a tax preparer if there was fraud involved, or you believe that you are a victim and your ex-spouse is using your name incorrectly, definitely come to us. Again, like Stephen said, we're a nonprofit. We don't charge any money. Everything is free. So if you need assistance, please reach out. We also help with tenant advocacy, eviction, anti-harassment, fair housing claims repairs. We also work on commercial lease and small business owners for rent negotiation. So our phone numbers are listed here, 718-487-2300. You can also email us at info@bka.org. Next slide, please. So with the low-income taxpayer clinic, I mentioned this in the previous slide, but here are just more details of the different types of situations that you may need help with concerning your IRS or New York State taxes. If you need help filing delinquent tax returns, requesting an abatement for penalties and interest, or you received any notices saying that you owe taxes and you don't understand why you owe the taxes, perhaps you received an audit letter adjusting your prior year tax returns, you're currently going through litigation and you need help filing in tax court, we can definitely assist. And we do have a low income requirement. So your income cannot be more than 250% or 250% of the federal poverty guidelines. And there has to be a connecting IRS issue. We do have a small allotment for those who are overqualified, but depends on each year and where we are with the number of spots. But always call in, it doesn't hurt. Even if we're unable to help you, we can definitely direct you to the right resource, or at least assist you with trying to read the documents to help you better understand what the heck is going on with your taxes. Next slide, please. Yeah, so these are the income ceilings, so 250% of federal poverty guidelines. So if you live in New York, for example, and your size, so single person, if you made less than 37,650, you would qualify for our low income taxpayer clinic. And you just go through the chart, go down. If you have a family of 5 and you make less than 91,450, you will also qualify. So definitely reach out to us if you need assistance. Next slide.
Wonderful. I think that's about it. So thank you so much, Kelly and Stephen, and to Taniqua also for joining us. We will now open it up to questions. I'll leave this up here for a second, but I'll also put all of this info in the chat if people want to copy it and paste it somewhere more useful for them. Let me just put this to everyone. So if anybody has a question, you can see at the bottom of your screen, there is a little hand raise button. If you want to ask your question verbally, please click that and I can unmute you so that you can ask your question directly to Kelly and Stephen. Alternatively, there's a Q&A box as well that you can type your question in, and I will read it out to them as well. The one we had, I know from a previous event, and Stephen, you touched on this before. You mentioned, being IRS certified. Can you guys both weigh in on, I see a lot of walking on the street, oh, we're free tax, or not free, but we're a tax preparer. There's different types of storefronts around your block. What's a good way for you to know if that one is legit or not? What's a good way to sort of assess that?
Oh, okay. Well, if you don't mind me going, Kelly, for Grow
Go
Brook,
ahead.
yeah, we, definitely partnered with the IRS. We received grants from them to go into these different neighborhoods to do everything for free. But in order to do that, us that are paid preparers, so basically, like me, for example, that I might be paid to do the service for free. But there's also volunteers that can do this for free, that can put on their resume, that they'll get certified via the irs.gov website, and their link and learn certifications that they do to get, their standards of conduct testing done. Like, if you want to be a site coordinator, there's a site coordinator test, and it's all things that's based on IRS rules and regulations and compliances that you have to follow in order to do the tax preparation. So it's not a random person that's coming off the street. You have to pass certain background checks. You have to have certain knowledge on taxation, certain counting things. So certain schools, and even if you don't, have a passion to want to help, but then you still have to go through certain background checks as well, and going through the certification test as well to prepare the individual's taxes. So it's not a random person that can come over here. You have to be certified. And the plus about it is that you get a certificate as well that you can put on your wall. You show your family that it has your first and last name on it, and that you are IRS certified to help. But for free. For free. You cannot charge. You cannot receive any money from this. This is for free. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Excellent. If other folks have questions, like I said, feel free to use the hand raise button, or you can type your question into the chat. I actually more of a question for myself. I'll put you guys on the spot a little bit. So, and if you don't know, I know this is in flux a little bit. I understand, right, that the IRS now has its own free electronic filing system. I don't know where that stands. Are people able to use that for this year for their 2023 returns? Do you know?
Yes, you can still have the free file. That's still a tool that's available on irs.gov. So you can find more about that on irs.gov, but they have that. That's been open for a little while. They have the free file as well.
Yeah, you should always be able to file the IRS 1040 for free. It's usually the New York State where you end up paying. So the very first website that I showed you, if you live in New York State, click from there. There are 4 different programs like Free Tax USA, 1040. I forget what the other 2 are called. If you click from that website directly, you'll be able to file both the IRS and New York State for free if you make below $79,000.
Gotcha. Perfect. Kelly, do you have that link handy? Could we maybe put that in the chat for people?
Let me find it.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's see. Questions other people have? Seeing something in the chat. Let me see. Provide the info the young lady stated when she first came. Barbara. Are you referring to Taniqua, the contact information for Senator Prasad's office? We can include that as well. Taniqua, are you still on the still there? If you don't mind dropping the oh, thanks, Barbara. Yeah, if you don't mind dropping the
Yes, I'm
contact
still
info.
on.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
will do.
Thank you. Yeah, just write in the chat for people. And I will, so we're going to put this whole presentation on our YouTube channel. And everybody who attended tonight, I will be sure to email it to you once it's up, and we can include all of the links and the contact information in that email as well. So, and excuse me, if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Brooklyn A, to Grow Brooklyn, for any other types of questions that you might have, however big or small. I'm seeing another question. Is there a standard fee one pays to tax preparers? My fee keeps going up every year.
Well, I could comment on that. To my knowledge, no. It's if you're dealing with a tax preparer, that's their own personal business. So they can charge whatever it is that they like, to be honest with you. Like it could range, like I've heard certain numbers, and don't quote me on it because this is not the set number, but I've heard from like $200, $300, $500. Like it all depends on what the organization or company where you're getting your taxes done, they're going to charge you. And then that's why I also said at times they may not even charge you, but they may take it out your refund, which means that your refund, whatever you was getting, your hard-earned money, is now going into their own personal bank accounts, whatever it's a business bank account, whatever it is, which is not legal. Okay. So definitely, I would say please take advantage of the free tax preparation sites as long as you're within the scope of what we stated. And then you can always find out, on growbrooklyn.org and the Brooklyn A, find out, different filing requirements as well. And if you fit within that spectrum, okay? So yeah, I wouldn't say there's a set price per se, but you can pretty much charge anything. You can get charged anything.
Gotcha. Very helpful. Kelly, anything to add there? And Taniqua, I see your hand is raised there.
Nothing to add. Yeah, it seems like with tax accountants, you can charge anything. People can, if you file certain tax forms, they charge it per form. So it depends on the accountant. I don't think there's a set standard out there for how much you can charge.
Gotcha.
So it's always at least a suggestion, even if you want to use a tax accountant, it doesn't hurt to at least use one of the softwares just to see what amount they calculate and just see if the tax accountant is really out of their way and just adding random numbers that just doesn't make sense. So it doesn't hurt to do your own due diligence first.
Gotcha. Excellent. We have another question here in the Q&A box. While the target audience for our services is people at the stated income levels to receive free services, do we offer the option to pay for their services if you are over the income requirements? I know we touched on it a little bit, but you guys want to go a little more detail?
Can you repeat the question? So what exactly is the question?
Yeah, if we offer services to people who are over income, over the eligibility threshold.
I would say with Go Brooklyn, if you're out of scope within that, we could, definitely direct you to people that are within scope that may not be directly our sites pertaining to Go Brooklyn, but there's other organizations that are willing to help. And then if not, there are paid preparers that, can still be IRS certified, meaning that like they were part of a program and then like they have their own business doing different things like that are, listed on irs.gov that can help you that so anything that you can't get at one place, you know, at least with Grow Brooklyn, we could send you to somebody that's associated with us that is trusted, well known, and you know, definitely within the IRS that you know area that can help you and find your best refund possible.
Right, and I would say it's the same at Brooklyn A. We unfortunately don't offer the option for you to pay. Everything we do is pro bono, meaning that it's for free. So we would be referring you to other organizations that may be able to assist you, or you can always search online, like what Steven said, to see if there are other IRS certified organizations that are trusted that can help you prepare your tax returns.
Excellent. Great. And I see, thank you, Taniqua. She's added Senator Prasad's contact information for her office to the chat there. Another question from Barbara. Can you claim that amount for the next year filing 2024? Barbara, do you mean the like your refund amount? Is that what you mean? I'm a little confused. If you're there, Barbara, you want to raise your hand? You want to maybe ask your question verbally to clarify? Oh, the cost of filing for your taxes. Can you claim that amount for next year? It's an interesting question. I don't know. Can you do that?
Comment on that. Usually tax preparation fees can't be deducted for personal taxes, but sometimes I've heard of people that, you know, if you have your own tax software and other preparation fees on your Schedule A and other forms like that sometimes, but usually, no, it can't be deducted for personal taxes. Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you, Stephen. All right. I am not seeing other questions in the chat, and I don't see hands raised. But we'll do a last call if other people have any other questions. Again, we have Senator Prasad's contact information. In the chat, we have the info for the tax resources and e-filing in the chat there as well. And the contact information for both Brooklyn A and Grow Brooklyn. Like I said, I will upload tonight's presentation video to YouTube, and I will send around the link so you can refer back to this, and you can also in that email to everyone, I will be sure to include our contact information for all three offices here tonight, and for the other resources we mentioned. I'll give one last plug as a reminder. This is a three-part series, so tonight was part one. The next two parts are going to be the following Wednesdays. So next week, Wednesday, February 28th, and then after that will be March 6th. And those two programs respectively will cover tax credits and deductions and info for target of abuse clients. And then the third part will cover self-employment obligations and worker classifications, as well as the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. So we would love to see everybody return to make sure you get everything out of your taxes this year. And please do share around the link. It's the same link you used to sign up for tonight, and we'll continue to share it on our social platforms and our email blasts. I will also put into the chat right now this is the link to sign up for our tax talks. This is the tax table that runs every other Thursday in partnership between us, Brooklyn A, and Grow Brooklyn. This again is a free 15-minute chat with a tax expert that you can get any question you have answered. And if it's a question that takes longer than that, then we'll just get you signed up for more services, and we'll make sure that you're taken care of. But with that, I think we will close for tonight. I want to say a huge thank you to Kelly and Stephen for incredibly informative and perfect presentation of all this vital information. Thank you so much to Taniqua Strong and to Senator Roxanne Prasad for sponsoring, and Taniqua for joining us tonight. We really appreciate all of the work that you do and the support you give to organizations like Brooklyn A and Grow Brooklyn. And thank you to everyone for being here, taking time out of your week. Like I said, we are here to help. If taxes are scary and they can be dense and difficult, but we've got brilliant people like Stephen and Kelly, at both of our organizations. So don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, we'll say good night. Thank you again to everyone, and hopefully we'll see you next week for part 2.